know, right now we're doing some shit. So I'm going to hold my hand over it. Ha, good. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And, like, just finish your job.
I don't know what the fuck this is. Let's keep going. There you go.
So Kahlan wants the heads of these men put on pikes. Fuck yeah, Kahlan the Impaler. That actually doesn't have a bad ring to it, now that I've said it out loud. I was planning on it when I read the chapter, and it's even better now. And it may seem a little excessive, especially in the middle of an attack like this, because the whole plan was to get in, do the deed, and get out.
Yeah, to me it seems real excessive, because these guys have to hack these heads off and then stick them on pikes. And by the time they're done, Kahlan's like, oh shit, we've been here too long. Like, no fucking shit.
This was your idea.
Yeah. This was, I mean, throw the bodies in a pile in front of the commander's tent. I think it would have sent a message. But okay, whatever.
Well, it does take too much time, because by the time they get this thing done, right, there's Daharans swarming in from everywhere. Mm-hmm. They're drunk, they're laughing, but a swarm, it's still fucking dangerous nonetheless.
Yeah, numbers are not good.
Go. Yeah, no. That was the whole thing. This wasn't going to be a battle, so don't put yourself in one position too long. Not good for the health. Not good at all. And there's no rum, so why bother staying?
Yeah.
Just saying.
They may not have rum, but we have beer.
Yes, we do. And a good one at that.
Hell yeah, we do.
So this week, while we were up north, we stopped at a place called Earthen Ales. It's actually a part of the Grand Traverse Commons. Inside of them, anyway. It's the old Traverse City State Hospital that's been repurposed into, like, shops and apartments. It is a badass area. If you guys ever make it up to northern Michigan, the Traverse City area, definitely go. And definitely go check out Earthen Ales. So, for the next 4 episodes, we will be having one of their beers per episode, although I'm sure we will actually be having several. But for tonight, the beer we are reviewing is Apricot Sour. From Earthen Ales, Traverse City, I already said all that, la-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's a Berliner-style Weiss beer brewed with apricots. Very, very simple. Now, you guys know that we are not huge fans of sours, but they have been growing on us over the past, I'll say, 6 months.
Yeah, fair.
I got this one specifically because this is a brewery I love. We've been there before, and every beer that they've made has been a winner in my book. Yeah. I'm not kidding. They have not made a bad one to my taste yet. So I was like, all right, we're going to try the sour. And lo and behold, it's fucking tasty. It's not too tart. It's pretty sweet, which, I mean, helps it along. But the sourness of it is not overbearing at all. And it actually tastes like apricots.
Yeah, I don't really know what apricots taste like until you're eating an apricot, I feel like. But, I mean, when you think, like, what does the apricot taste like?
That.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't like, oh, that's strawberry. Like, you don't have a flavor in your head. Yeah, that's
true.
Until you eat it. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's apricot. Yeah, or apricot? Apricot.
I mean, I'm going apricot. That's the way I was taught, so.
Whatever. Pronunciations suck. But this beer doesn't. Get it if you can.
That was great. And I think with that, we're going to grab another one. So we will be back right after this. Seriously, right back. Just in a second here. And look at that. We are back. Going for the cheery comeback like you do. And you know what? I like it.
Yeah, it works.
It makes me feel good. Maybe that's the beer. Nah. Well, it doesn't hurt. So, Kahlan and the Wolf Army are starting to be driven back. And we can't have that happen because, you know, they're the good guys. Doesn't really make for a good story.
No.
But without surprise, they are all dead if they can't go forward. There's nowhere to go back, right? Just into the ether, and they can't just run. They have to attack. They have to do what they came here to do, and now they need to get away.
Right. They can't go backwards into the men who have already seen them, because that's not surprising. They have to keep going.
Right.
One direction.
They have to carve through.
Yes.
So Kahlan throws caution to the wind and pushes Nick into the enemy, stabbing to both sides, her men following suit, wanting to protect her. Very bold. She's right out in front of the line. zero protection, literally zero armor,
Mm-hmm.
other than maybe horse legs.
Mm-hmm.
But like, holy shit, the balls on this woman.
Well, yeah, because her men were like stuck. They weren't able to move. So that's literally the only move they had was one person getting that wedge going.
Break the dam, yeah. Her sword in the air, Kahlan shouts out a cry for Ebonicia and her dead, saying she is here to avenge them. It produces the needed effect, bolstering her men, and the Order that thought they were fighting men suddenly doubted it when they saw her. Like, okay, these aren't naked dudes. These are ghosts. Holy fuck. Run.
Yeah. Yeah. That bitch just said that she was here to avenge the dead people that we killed, so fuck.
This
okay.
is literally the thing we were afraid of.
Yeah.
We are afraid of no man, but ghosts are a different fucking story.
No ghosts!
You didn't say anything about ghosts, motherfucker! Knew I should have signed up for the Navy. This is bullshit.
It wasn't in the contract.
Good hearty laugh before I read this line because it's wonderful. They begged for mercy, they begged for forgiveness, and all were greeted with steel. It was a nice echo. Kahlan tells him there's no fucking quarter, and believing they are all going to die, many of them just break and run. The fearless were feeling the fear before they die.
I think that's a wonderful line. I mean, I'm pretty sure that all the people who they raped and murdered were also begging for forgiveness before they were,
Right.
fucking raped and murdered.
They totally have this coming.
Yeah.
Every bit of fear. You read horrible thing after horrible thing in this chapter, and it just keeps coming. And you're like, oh gosh, that's awful. And it makes you want it to stop. I mean, okay, you remind yourself that these are bad men and that the things they did are equivalent to what's happening to them now. Really, the things they did to other people were way worse.
Yeah.
These guys have it coming in a really bad way. And no matter how fucking crazy this chapter gets, every single bit of it is them guys getting what they deserve. And it is fucking awesome.
Yeah. I think it's just hard to see the good guys doing shitty things, but it's not that shitty because it's deserved.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? We're going to call it that.
Okay.
I mean, it is deserved. So it's deserved.
Yeah. They become a river of white flowing through the enemy. Kahlan sees the drivers and the draft horses and urges them along faster, and at this point they take the chains and wrap them around the horns of one of the horses, like unhooking the two together, or, well, unhooking the two apart, right? However you would say that.
Right. Essentially, they've unhooked the chain part, and they just wrapped it around the saddle, on the horn of the back of the horse.
Yes.
So it's like, it's on there, but it's not on there as tight as it could be.
Well, and it's not dragging through all of the shit on the ground anymore, because that's what my thought was when they were running up here. Like, how the fuck are they going to even get to the camp if they're just dragging chains through the woods and through these camps?
Right. No, it's lifted up onto the horse's back.
Yeah.
Keeping it off the ground.
It made way more sense to me after
Yes.
this happened. I was like, oh, that's what they're doing. Okay, that's smart.
Suddenly, Bryn and Peter see another line of horses and decide to go after them. Kahlan wants to tell them not to do it. She's like, look, you got one. You can't go back and do it again. They were already wildly successful.
Yeah.
Everything they wanted to do, they got done.
You don't have to push it, guys. It's okay.
Right. But unfortunately, not unfortunately for us, but unfortunately for Bryn and Peter, everything they wanted to do includes breaking every horse's leg in that camp. They're not done until they're done, so it ain't finished yet.
Yeah, they were dedicated motherfuckers, I tell you that.
You know what? Cheers to Bryn and Peter. Cheers, everybody. Like those guys.
Yes.
So she calls out to him and is like, hey, don't do it. You're good. But she knows, and I mean, we know too, because that heavy-ass chain that they're moving around, they're not going to hear her. And they don't hear her. So she gives him one last look before turning her attention elsewhere. And we see Bryn and Peter right off into the fucking sunset like a couple of goddamn cowboys.
Goddamn heroes, that's what they are.
They are heroes. They are heroes. Those guys are bad ass. Ah, sorry. I'm still not over it, but we can move on.
Yes, well, we have to.
Yeah.
So Kahlan sees the supply wagons on their way out, and she's like, "Get them motherfuckers!" And they douse the supply wagons in lamp oil, destroying those motherfuckers as they pass.
So they finally break into the night, and Kahlan calls for the scouts. Of the 50 men that had found them a path to get out of there, only 2 of them were left alive.
Ooh.
She is up fucking set. Their whole plan was based on these 50 guys. They needed a clear path out. They were going to raise absolute hell, and they needed all of these sentries on point and ready to lead them out of there at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
But there's only 2. So we know that there's roughly 1,000 guys, right, in this attack, and two guys are going to lead them back through the woods at a breakneck pace that has to be almost impossible to see and even harder to follow.
Well, and it also seems a little bit crazy, too, because I'm guessing that the scouts weren't in the vanguard of the attack, right? That was the naked guys with the swords.
Right.
So you had your scouts following you, right? They're like the last people. So,
well, the scouts go in first. They don't go in with the charge. So they were there when the charge happened. But like the vanguard, like you're saying, the 1,000 naked dudes, they weren't necessarily following the scouts. They were doing their own charge. They just knew the way in and out because of the scout.
Okay, so the scouts during this attack, right? Are they on the outside ring of this camp?
I think so, yeah. I don't think they're doing the fighting. I think they are just essentially the getaway car.
Okay, well that was what my thing was. If they were like following the wolf army, right, as the back, and then they were supposed to come up front, like they were following them, and then they were supposed to come up front at the end. I was like, that's a bad plan.
Oh, no, they would have led while they got close. You know, they found the path in. They're going to find the path out, right, while most of this goes on. But since they're first, they probably had been seen and killed.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't in that initial charge when, you know, when the naked guys came out and the ghost shit started happening. It wasn't that. They had just been found out.
Yeah, just somewhere in the fray. It fucking happened.
Right,
yeah, okay.
And I mean, they are scouts. They're not necessarily the best soldiers. Their skill is covering land and reading a situation.
Yeah, so Kahlan briefly curses the spirits before taking it back, because she's like, oh, well, at least we fucking had 1 guy, or 2, right?
Yeah, we're going to use all we have, and that's for sure.
Yeah, I better not use up my goodwill with whatever spirits actually do exist up there.
Yeah. So when she sees the drivers on the draft horses, I mean, the ones who are left anyways, she tells them the scouts will show them the stakes to follow. That was smart, actually marking out the escape route. The only issue is then it's still there for the enemy to follow you, which I haven't entirely wrapped my brain around, but like you said, in the fray, probably would have gone unnoticed, at least for now. Maybe they got a guy who like trails behind them and picks them shits up. I used to have to do that on a construction crew, so I know what that's like.
Yeah, I think some of the guys that run here in a second have to grab them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see?
So, behind the drivers on the draft horses are sentries in Daharan uniform. I had a question about these guys, because apparently they have a white patch sewn into their epaulets? Epaulets? To show they are Galileans. Okay, we actually saw some of these up close and personal on our weekend up in Mackinac.
That's
there were
right.
some of them on the wall, and so I got to show Nate, hey, these are coming up in our next chapter.
Which is good, because I would have had zero idea what these things are.
It was like super relevant. But my question was, when did they sew these on? Like, are they wearing the epaulets from their original uniform? Like, they brought them with them and then just popped them on top of the Daharan's uniform? Because they didn't have time to sew this shit into the Daharan uniforms.
No, I think that's where it would have had to come from. That would have come off their uniform.
Put my shoulder caps on, and it'll be fine. Ignore the white patch, Daharans, while I murder you. It'll be fine.
Maybe they're just little fellas, and, you know, the shoulder pads make them feel big and tough.
Yeah, don't blame them for that, I guess. And these guys are actually the ones who are told to pull up the stakes before climbing on the back of the draft horses with the drivers. That's the plan. They're going to double up or triple up on the draft horses and ride the fuck out of there.
So they had made tons of paths to small camps around the enemy earlier in the day, so it'd be hard to find them. This is another way of them covering their tracks with